Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actor Alex Zahara. Did I get that right? Zahara?
Yeah. We just talked about it. It's Zahara or Zahara, like the desert.
Sahara,
Alex Zahara.
Zahara. Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah.
I got it right.
But in the Ukraine,
I told you when I started, it'd be like,
yeah,
who knows?
yeah. Well, everybody does that because, like in the Ukraine, it's Zahara because of the pronunciation.
I know.
But here's one
like
for you. It's actually from way back. I think it was from in India when Alexander the Great's armies invaded India. They brought people back or with that name, to Europe. And in the Ukraine, it means one from beyond the hills.
Oh, that sounds very important.
Well, they were the strangers, So there you go.
Well, Alex, welcome.
Thank you.
Such a fan of yours. I think I've been watching
thanks.
because you show up in all the nerdy shows.
It's true.
So I've been watching you for a while.
Okay.
And it probably started. I'm guessing it started with some of the Stargates, but may have been even before that. It's you've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, my first role on TV was a guest. I think it was a guest star or large principal on TV was the Sentinel, and I played like a militia type guy or whatever in that. And then I booked on Stargate, guest lead on Stargate. And then after the two episodes on Stargate, I didn't have to audition anymore. They just wrote stuff with me in mind, and my buddy Dion Johnson, and we played the heavy prosthetic makeup aliens like the Unas for like years. So
I know. You just kept coming back.
Yeah, it's great. If I had, here's one real quick story for you. So I auditioned the Sentinel and Stargate. There was a conflict at the same time. I ended up not being able to do the Stargate. I first booked a Stargate where I was supposed to be full prosthetic. Then they changed to just these little sparkly veils. And Jillian Barber, friend of mine, was the lead alien lady. But if I booked that, I wouldn't have been able to come back. So the first one I did was Zales, this fish gill-faced alien. He had like gills here.
I remember him. Yeah.
But they didn't see my face, so I got to come back as the hippie. But I did so well with the prosthetics, and then this hippie Michael, they liked it a lot, and they just said, "Hey, are you free like in June to do this episode?" And I said, "Sure." So myself and Dion we got to do these Unas creatures. They flew me down to Santa Monica to Masters FX for a fitting and body cast and did all that, and the rest is history. I did like 8 or 9 different characters and episodes, and within one episode, the Beast of Burden episode, I joke, but I played I think 8 different characters, but really about 10,000 because they CGI'd me and 3 other guys like 1,000 times.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
I've been around a while.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a little while. And in fact, I wanted to ask you because I was researching. I kind of go through and look back at your the things that you've been in. You did a Greg Louganis movie.
Oh yeah,
where you were a swimmer. I've seen that movie. I do not remember you in it, but I have seen that movie.
Okay, here's the story of that. So I was a competitive swimmer and coach from the time I was 8 years old till I was 23.
Yeah.
Not when I was 8 coaching, but coached when I was 16, and then I ran the team in my 20s. Anyway, the Grand Prairie Aquarians, if anyone's interested, there you go. And I still fit. I bet you it's over there. I'll have to show you. I tried on my old swim team jacket from the 70s or early 80s. It still fits me. There you go. A little small.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing. Well, let me ask you this, because now that I think about it, when did Open Range come in there? Because I
Okay,
seen you
wait,
on that.
I'll finish the thing with Ilganis. So I was at UBC. I was a lifeguard there, and they shot the movie there, and they needed a liaison. So I said, okay, I'll help. And so I had to turn the jets of the pool on and off because they were doing shooting in the deep dive tank because they
Yep.
had a car that had gone over the rail, and he was, it was like Brian Wilson character was supposed to be in this car at the bottom looking up. Anyway, but they said they needed someone to swim butterfly. They didn't have anybody, and I said, well, I used to compete and whatever. I swam more butterfly for that dang movie
Oh,
in the
that's
shooting than I
hilarious.
think I did my entire lifetime. Because you have to repeat and repeat. And I finally just said, guys, listen, I got one more in me. You can't make me swim 50 meters all day butterfly. I will die. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway. And
That's
then
kind of
Open
funny
Range
though.
came in around 2003, I think.
Have you oh okay, Open Range is this after we turned the century there. I was thinking it was
Yeah.
late 90s. So yeah.
No, I think it was 2003. I'm pretty sure.
No,
I can
that's
look it up or
probably
whatever.
right.
But
I
the
had
Leganis movie, Leganis movie is like
Cliff
96.
Saunders has been on.
Cliff Saunders has been on your
Yeah.
show?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Cliffy.
Well,
I love
and his
Cliff.
wife Elizabeth's been on as well, but
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so we got to talk some Open Range with that. And if I
Cool.
remember, were you the one that he shoots through the wall?
No, not through the wall. Sorry, Alex Ponovic, my buddy's just saying, "Hey, what's going on?" He was in Hawkeye and all that, you know.
Yep.
So anyway, he's attacking. No. So my death at the end, like when they planned it all out, we were there for about 3 weeks, and finally it took us about a week to shoot the big gunfight. And Kevin's walking around. He goes, and Alex, he punches me in the arm, and yeah, Blanker, you get to shoot me. I'm like, no. So big gunfight. I shoot Costner in the leg. And then Robert Duvall, Bobby, whatever, he blows me away with a double barrel shotgun. So if you watch that, I get boom, I get hit like this. And I did my own stunt where I flew over backwards. But then they had the stuntman, Norman Howell. We looked like brothers from another mother. It was ridiculous. We looked like twins. He did the actual fall in the back because when I landed, unfortunately, the mat, like look at my hands, see, the mat came up into frame and ruined the shot. And this Hungarian camera operator, I can't remember his name right now, but he's Hungarian, just very passionate man. He's like, you, and he was yelling at the stunt guys, you ruined my shot, the best shot this entire movie, you ruined it. And he started using F-word expletives again and again. And he left and he refused to come back. So we're like, okay, well,
Hilarious.
and
So
that
he
was
was
that.
just
But
done. You messed
oh
up
yeah,
the
he
shot
walked
and he's
away.
out.
He just walked away, and I'm standing there all harnessed up and whatever. Everybody's kind of like awkward, and they're like, "Okay, you got to go catch your plane. See ya." And then when I saw the movie, I saw me get hit. But then so you see me get shot from the front, and then the rest of it's all Norm, and he flipped over backwards, and there's a sidewalk going like this. I was standing on this sidewalk here, flip over backwards, and he does this weird thing with his neck as he's rolling. It looks like he snapped his neck, and then he just died, right? And I called him up in LA right away. I said, Norm, are you okay with it? Oh, buddy, don't worry. It's a thing I do. It makes it look like I break my neck. It's great. I'm like, scared the daylights out of me. I thought he really got hurt because I wasn't there when he filmed that, right? So,
That's pretty great. That's
yeah.
that's one of my dad and I's favorite westerns.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
You know what? Seriously, it's a very underrated movie. I think it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Sound, but it should have been nominated around Costner's, I guess his bankability had fallen a bit at that point, and he financed the whole thing himself because he couldn't get a studio behind it. But then it became like a kind of quiet hit, and it brought him back in fame and bankability. And now, of course, he's riding high with
Yeah.
Yellowstone and beyond, and
Sports movies and westerns. He's
westerns. Oh,
nailed.
totally, man. Yeah. But here's the thing: could you see him doing a sci-fi? No.
No, I could not.
No, he's a great guy. I'll tell you straight up, like I said, Kevin, whatever, because you work with folks like that. They
Yeah.
get on a first name basis, whatever. When I first met him, I said, "Hey, Mr. Kosh," oh, call me Kevin, come on, but he said to me, shook my hand, and said, "Alex, we're really glad you'd be here. I know it's a small role you're playing, and you do a lot of bigger stuff in TV, but we're really glad to have you." I looked right at him and went, "What you don't know, Kevin, is that I pay you to let me be here." And we had a good laugh, and the rest was history. And even like Robert Duvall, like Bobby, like it sounds pretentious maybe, but he would like, "Hey, no, you call me Bobby, call me Bobby." So you called
Awesome.
him Bobby.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Robert Duvall. Yeah,
I love the way Costner does like he does shootouts like you would expect them to actually go.
yeah, like
Where
chaotic and just
chaotic.
random
People are panicking sometimes.
oh yeah,
They're standing right in front of people and missing. I mean, that would probably
yeah.
happen.
Oh, those guns, the guns were not that accurate. Like the Colts and stuff, God bless them, but pistols were not accurate, very accurate past like 20 yards, I think I read, 20
Yeah,
or
yeah.
25 yards. The pistols weren't that accurate. So you had to be like within like say 20 yards to accurately kill or shoot somebody.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
get messy, it got ugly, and that's I think that's really portrayed well in that movie. Like I love the one spot where this guy's hiding and Costner shoots a guy in the foot when his toes are sticking out. I love that, you know. And you referred to earlier that was Diego. Oh gosh, what's Diego's name? Not Diego Luna. There was two Diegos. I think it was Diego Santiago.
Diego Luna
He
was
was
Button in that one, I
yeah,
think.
Canadian. Well, he plays Button, yeah, but a Canadian actor. He got shot through the wall and did a spin
That's
like
yeah,
that.
that was the one I was thinking might have been
Yeah,
you. I was like, well, that was that him?
no, that was really violent looking. Like that was
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
But the stunt guy that did that was amazing. Like the stunt team on that, like Guy Buse is a Calgary stunt guy based out there. The Buse family is really well known, and I believe in racing too, like rodeo and chuck wagon and all that. The Buse family. So anyway, so if I say here's a quick one, a quick story, Robert Duvall story for you. So we did this scene where the three bad guys are waiting to us three bad guys or me and two other guys are waiting to ambush them and they don't show up. It's all raining like crazy. We walk into the marshal's office and they've already taken our marshal captive. And I come in, my only line in the whole movie as scripted was, "Well, looky here." So I come in, I took my hat off and shook the rain off, as you would coming in, wherever. And then, like, Kevin kicks the door shut and goes, "No, looky here." And at one take, Duvall put his pistol right into my neck and I'm like, whatever. But he was tying us up and he's chloroforming us all. And I'm like, I'm a gunfighter. Sorry, but I'm a jerk. I mean, I'm not going to just take this line out. And it wasn't out of ego. Didn't pre-think this, but this is what you trained as an actor. Like
Right.
you respond. And so he goes to chloroform me and I go, "You're dead, old man. I'm going to kill you, you son of a bee. Like you're dead and you don't even know it." And he goes, "Shut up, shut up." But of course, the only time in my life I had false facial hair because I was doing another show at the same time. So my mustache went gink like this. And so the camera was right here. I'm lying back like this. So I went, "Pass out this way." And I passed out like that. And then Duvall, before, they yell cut right there. And Duvall goes, "Hey kid, good improv. You keep that shit up." I'm like, "Duvall said good improv, Mr. Duvall."
Yeah, I'd probably carry that with me after that.
No kidding. But I mean, seriously, that's the thing in the moment of like living truthfully under these imaginary circumstances. And that was truthful. Like, I'm not going to just let some old guy put me under. Are you kidding me? Like, anyway, so suffice to say, it was great. And they let you do that. They let you express a lot and do things. And I mean, not like crazy when you're doing gunplay. You have to
Right. Yeah, Cliff said
whatever.
the same thing, that you had a little bit of input.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the strength of a mark of a good director, A-lister,
Yeah.
person like that. None of those people, Annette Benning, Sir Michael Gambon, they didn't have anything to prove because their proof was in the
That's
pudding,
right.
man. Their
That's
careers, and they were open to suggestions and things, and God bless them. They let you do stuff and move things around, yeah. I mean, it just they were
Amazing.
look at the goosebumps. Seriously, see that?
Amazing. I
They were
love
the
to hear
best to
that.
work with.
As a fan, we
Yeah.
love when everybody gets along on set, because
Mhm.
sometimes when they don't, it shows up in the
Oh
process.
yeah. I'll tell you straight up, like Stargate, big family. Everybody got along, great family. That's why it lasts so long. Supernatural, it's been like what, 14, 15 seasons. These shows do not stick around if it doesn't function, doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are people that I know of I've been involved in a couple of shows where certain people caused the demise of the show so they could move on to better things because they were under
Right.
contract and the show had to end. They couldn't quit, which is really horrible when you think about it. Because they put all these other people out of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever.
Selfish. It's a little
I've had
selfish.
mostly positive experiences, and they've been great. And like I said, Sir Michael Gambon was awesome. He's passed away, God bless him. But Annette Benning, Diego Luna was great. Like everybody was great. Michael Jeter. Like there wasn't an ass on that film.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great.
Hmm.
Do you have a favorite Western?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so many. God, I just saw I can't remember the name now. The name escapes me. It's the gunfight at OK Corral with
Oh,
Lancaster and Douglas.
oh, yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's it. It's the gunfight at the
oh,
OK Corral.
OK Corral.
Right.
There you go. That's really good. I love that
That is a
movie. I
great
love that.
movie.
And the one that Val Kilmer was in with Kurt Russell.
That's my favorite's Tombstone.
Oh God, I love the. I wish I had a cup here with a little flick, 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 flick. He just totally undermines Johnny Ringo, Val Kilmer's character. He was so good. Val Kilmer was so good. God bless him.
Amazing.
Just rest in peace. He was such a, in some respects, I think, underrated actor because he did so well when he committed and was there. Like, it was just incredible.
That's the truth. I mean, he had certain roles that
Sure.
I couldn't imagine anybody else in there. Although Dennis Quaid
Yeah.
played a good Doc Holliday too.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. The two of those movies back and forth, Costner's and whatnot, they were both really good. I just think that the Russell one was edgier. Kurt
Well, it had
Russell,
more quotable lines too.
yeah, yeah,
And that's always kind of fun.
yeah. And we were watching we watched Landman recently, and we
that
finished
was good too.
Goliath with Billy Bob, and
I love Goliath, yeah.
yeah. Well, like Kurt Russell slaps the dickens out of things. And I'm being very clean with my language, as trying as I can be, just so just the dickens.
Well, I appreciate that, but you don't have to be.
Okay, well, he slaps the shit out of him.
That's right. It's
Oh, he does. I love it. Yeah. Anyway, that's the guy I'd really like to work with. I'd love to work with Billy Bob. I know he's got his eccentricities, etc., but I think he's a great actor.
Oh, he is. He's talented. He's talented.
Totally.
Another guy that when he puts his mind to it, unbelievable.
Oh yeah, yeah, unbelievable. Well, I'll tell you straight up, give you a quick Robert Duvall story. Bobby, I can call him Bobby. Two Bobby stories for you. One about his great acting. We were doing a scene in Open Range where he gets the chocolate in the with Cliff. He gets the chocolate. Cliff probably said this, but he's opening the chocolate, and they're talking about getting the Swiss chocolate all the way from Europe, and he's supposed to take a bite of it, and he's talking about life at whatever. At some point, I think he's supposed to take a bite of it or whatever, but he accidentally got handed a prop bar. So it was just a little wedge of wood that had been wrapped in the candy wrap. And we all oh shit, like off camera, oh no, because he opened it up and you can see that it's wood. But Costner was shooting in two sizes. So he's in tight here, and then he's wider, right? So down like a medium shot or whatever it was. So suffice to say, we all thought, oh no, it's ruined. But Duvall knows his stuff. He just keeps rolling. He keeps doing it and doing his thing. And then at some point, he's supposed to get a bite out of it, I believe. And I think he said, and you know something? After all this long advice of stuff and the big monologue, he goes, I just can't eat this. Exactly. And then there's this pregnant pause. And then Kevin goes, okay, cut. Because he drew us so back into it. Even though the candy bar, the wooden candy bar took everybody out, he brought us right back in, and we were all suckered in, and we forgot about it. I literally forgot. Kevin forgot. Everybody forgot about it. And not until he goes, I just can't eat this. Did you remember? That's how good of an actor he was. Like, he could just bring you in. He would sit around telling stories. The stories this guy told. I mean, just like, you were like a little kid, like just enraptured listening to the stories, like amazing. And I recommended a restaurant. It's my favorite story. I recommended a restaurant to him. There was this almost like a cafeteria, but not quite. A little restaurant in Canmore where we were shooting, and it was nothing special, no big fancy nothing, whatever. But the food was just phenomenal. And I said, "Hey guys, it was my last day shooting, and I just said, hey, if you get a chance to Bobby, go there because I know you appreciate good dining." He said, "Oh yeah, for sure." So him, Craig Storper, the writer, and Duvall's girlfriend at the time, I think fiance actually, and then wife, they were in there having something to eat, I guess. I was done the day. I was walking the streets of Canmore, just looking for something to do. And all of a sudden, I'm just literally walking in, bang, bang, bang. Oh, geez. Somebody's pounding on the glass here. I'm like, and it's Duvall going, okay. So I come in the restaurant. Alex, you gotta try this. It's the best freaking tiramisu I've ever had. And he takes a spoon and jams it in my mouth.
That's a great story.
Spoon-fed me tiramisu with his own fork. That's all I'm saying.
I'm guessing not too many people can say that. Although, knowing Robert Duvall, there may be more than you.
There may be. Yeah. He was fickle. No, just kidding. No, but it was, but that's what I'm saying. They're just people. Like, it's just people. Yeah. I hate to say this, but I find it's the B-listers, that C-lister type people that you just, come on. If you're that upset about not having a career, go do something else.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Go do something else.
You have alternatives.
Yep, exactly. Don't make
Yeah.
life miserable for the rest of us. So,
What
so if I say I've had mostly positive experiences, which is why I'm still going close to 30 years in.
amazing. Yeah, amazing. What got you into it? What made you want to become an actor? Because it's such a difficult profession.
It really is. I think one, and this is the first time I've ever said this, ignorance, because I didn't know how difficult it was. Honestly, I didn't. I mean, you always talk about it's difficult making a living or whatever, but I didn't really know. I grew up in small town Alberta, and like, I
Yeah.
mean, where I grew up, like I lived in a town, little town, village of like 250 people at one point called Woking, Alberta. Yeah. So like
Nope.
literally, it was the dirt roads. You walk to school. I lost my rubber boots. They got stuck in the mud, and I cry, I lost my boots. Anyway, but we lived in a small town. Then I moved to Grand Prairie, the big city, which is 10,000 people. It was considered a city. It's huge, right? So we had not like we did a lot of like there's a lot of Brits doing theater. Like a lot of the Brits, after the war moved over,
Yeah.
etc. There's a lot of ethnic communities, so there's a lot of theater. And my mom took me to a play, The Fiddler on the Roof, when I was like, I don't know, five, whatever. And I just remember the lights going down, and all of a sudden a silhouette came up of this house in the middle of this gymnasium there was nothing there moments ago, and there's some little dude on the roof going, and I was hooked. I was just like, whoa, what is this magic? Like, who is this wizardry in front of me? What is this? So, I mean, and I was putting sock puppet plays on behind the couch for other kids. My mom says when I was 3 years old. So I think I came by it naturally, But after high school, I did a lot of performances and directing and did this and that. And I won a scholarship for college based on, I directed MASH.
Oh, you did. Oh my
I
God.
directed MASH, the stage version.
Amazing.
And yeah, and I won a scholarship to go to college based on that. We won the drama festival, won all the awards, and I was 17. I was ready to move to LA, and that's it, and blah blah blah. But then I stuck around, went to school, did this and that. But when I hit university later, I was like 22, 23. I said, okay, well, what do I really want to do? I wanted to direct, and I said, well, if I become an actor, I'll know the actor's language, and then that way I'll be a better director.
That's right.
So and sorry if this is a long-winded story, but so I auditioned for the auditioned for the acting program. There's like 1,000 applicants, 300 auditioned, 14 were picked, and I was one of the ones that got picked. Ask me to tell you my audition story. You'll love it.
Okay.
Uh, okay, then I got accepted in the tech theater program, offered a position based on the work I'd done in my tech theater classes,
Yeah.
and I submitted for film, got accepted. Actually, Stephen J. Cannell Studios was up in North Vancouver. They actually phoned me and offered me a job because we were doing a student film that year, and it was my interaction with them. They offered me a job running their loan out facility for film furniture and
Nice.
props. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I had faced a decision. And I went, okay, what was the one that was the most personally challenging? What was these three was the hardest? Well, the hardest was acting because you got to really clean your emotional house so that you can lend your soul to another character and have a clean slate to play that character and not bring your own crap in. Which is
Right.
why I think, like, I get forgotten that I'm in a lot of shows because I'm the man of 1,000 faces. People have dubbed me. I've done 175 shows and people don't really know me because I'm a character actor. I'm
Right.
not your
Right.
lead chiseled jaw guy, right? But I'm the guy that, that's why I've died 40 times on film because I play a lot of bad guys and I end up like trying to kill the leads and stuff. So I've had a great career that way. I can't complain. I've done plays. My childhood friend since I was 4 years old saw me in a play, and all I had was darken my beard in and put a bit of age makeup on and put a limp, and she didn't even know it was me.
Oh, it's amazing.
So yeah, but I mean, and the character and the accent, I was playing Hungarian, whatever. Anyway, all kinds of stuff like that. So you want to hear my audition story real quick?
I really do. Yeah.
Okay, so you had to prepare a classical monologue, a modern monologue, and sing a song.
Yeah.
Well, if you hear me, I can't carry a tune with two buckets. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I watched 3.2 billion hours of television, and I learned all the theme songs for all the shows. So I was like, oh, what am I going to sing? So this is a two-parter thing. So I'll tell you this first. So they had to ask me to sing at one point. So I got up there and I just stood up and I went, well, sit right back and you hear a tale that makes you trip. That's because that's all I could sing. I knew the tune backwards and forwards, and they loved it because all they want to do, they want to hear your range, right? They want to hear
Right.
your range, what you can do. So it's all good.
They
It's
don't really
funny.
care what you sing. They just
Yeah,
want to
I
sing.
didn't
Right.
sing like, slowly, softly, put your arms around. no Phantom of the Night here or whatever. Anyway, Phantom of the Opera. But that was that, so it was fun. But then, so I can't remember if I did my modern monologue, but my classical, I did Shakespearean. I did Iago from Othello, and there's a speech where he says, I hate the Moor, and it's thought abroad that twixt mine sheets he hath done mine office, which means I hate the Moor, and it's thought widely around that he's been sleeping with my wife.
Right.
So anyway, I start the monologue and it's all very quiet. I'm doing it very subtle, like very filmic, right? And I get stopped by Neil Freeman, my instructor. He goes, auditioner guy, dear heart, Alex, dear heart. And he always did this, you see, dear heart. Alex, Shakespeare was done in the Globe Theatre and huge and round and shout to be heard to the back room. I said, yeah, I know. Everybody has Shakespeare big. I'm doing it small. And he goes, oh, all right. So he gathered us round, and he made us, the 14 of us, squeeze in a little tight circle. This is the UBC den of thieves. You are the chief thief. Now, tell us your story. And smoke a marijuana cigarette. So I'm like, okay, because what they were checking me to see, could I take direction? Because I had this plan so well. All right, well, can you take direction within your plan? Well, of course I can. I mean, in the sense of I'm pretty good at what I do. Even back then, if I do say so myself. So I sat down and I was like, okay, and I pretended I've never rolled a joint in my life. Never. Still to this day, never have. So, but I've watched people do it, and I didn't inhale. Just kidding. So anyway, so I pretended to start to roll the joint. So I started my monologue. I hate the Moor. It's thought abroad that twixt mine sheets he hath done mine office, And then I looked around, and Hannalina, a friend of mine, gave me an imaginary lighter, and I lit it up, and I kept the monologue going. And I passed the cigarette around, the joint. And so they finished the joint while I did my monologue. And then when it got back to me, it was perfect timing. I got back, finished the last little toot, and put the little roach away, and then finished my monologue. And I got in.
Yeah, I would think so.
There you go.
That's very creative. I like that because it's creative, and they probably did too.
Well, yeah, that's the thing they're looking for. They're looking for, do you have a creative mind? Can you take direction? Are you flexible? Can you go on the fly, etc.? And you have to, especially in theater when stuff goes wrong. Good friends of mine and I, we did Othello. I did it twice within 6 months at the same theater, completely different productions. One was classical and one was an adaptation where it was like a city under siege, and we were like rappelling from the ceiling and all kinds of stuff. It was just crazy. But one night my buddy pulled a sword and it got caught on the braid of his outfit, and he couldn't get his sword out of the sheath. And I improv'd some Shakespeare, which you don't do. And I said, come, sir, can you not unsheath your own sword? Like double entendre. And anyway, we got into the sword fight, but he was so flustered after that and so embarrassed, he forgot the choreography.
Oh, no.
And he took my knee out with a sword. Yeah, and so when I get Cassio, the character I was playing, he gets cut on the thigh by Iago. Iago's trying to kill him because Cassio's discovered the truth about him. And I said to the guy playing Iago, I said, Mark, cut me on the right leg tonight because I'm limping already.
Well, did it knock you down when he hit you in the knee?
No, what happened was, we were supposed to parry this, that, whatever. And he was supposed to bring it across my belly, and I go like this to avoid it, right?
Yeah.
But what he did was, here's the thing about sword fighting. If you and I are doing a fight, like, see, right now I'm looking at you in the eyes, okay?
Right.
Like, there's the camera. Let's say I'll do the camera. So I'm looking at you in the eyes. What you do with your sword fights is, we had a short sword and a long sword, like a short knife. So we're like doing this. But what you do is you watch your eyes of your scene partner, because you've choreographed it so much, where the hits are coming, and where your hands have to be. So that if something goes wrong, you two can communicate with your eyes going, okay, I've screwed up here. Let's just take it easy and get back on track. What he did, God bless him, he's a great friend of mine. But he got flustered, he panicked, and he started looking where he wanted the sword to go. Oh. That's when it's a problem. So when you look where the sword's going to go and you're not looking at your scene partner, then you make mistakes. And he did. He came across, instead of coming across my belly, he was looking down and he went for my knee and he smoked my knee and it blew up like a grapefruit. It was horrible.
Gosh, how'd you get through the scene when that happened?
Well, I just bit it and went like, ah! And I just yelled with the rage, like, Viggo Mortensen when he kicks the helmet, breaks his toe. I did that. I was just, rah! and I came out, and Jeff knew he'd made a mistake, and he just like, I was insane. I was looking like I was going to kill because I was in so much pain. So anyway, we did that, got through it. I didn't kill him. And then we went backstage and they wrapped my knee up and whatever. And oh my God, and then for the next week I was hobbling. So yeah.
That's quite the blow you took.
Oh yeah. Well, we were using these sabers, and the sabers are thick. They're like that,
Yeah.
they're steel, they're solid, they're dull, but still. So when he came across and smoked me, like, it's like getting at speed like that, it's like getting hit with a cannonball in your leg.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So before we talk about Final Destination, I got to mention 13th Warrior, because I think that was your first film.
It was my first project.
Oh, that was your first everything with that. I was a big fan of, and I think people forget that was Crichton wrote that, which is a little different from some of his other stuff. But totally. Eaters of the Dead was one of my favorite books. It was kind of a short story, but I thought the adaptation was kind of underrated. That was a good film.
You know what? I'll give you a quick story about this. So the movie we shot is not the movie you saw. We shot the movie. It was a lot more character development, a lot more story. So you got to know all the main Vikings, so that when there was a big battle at the end, you would care for them. Well, guess what? Test audiences were like, no, it's not fast enough. It's too slow. I want some more. We want killing. So they sent it back to McTiernan, Disney, and said, like, you got to recut your movie. He said, no, it's my movie. It's done. Like, Hunt for Red October, Predator, Die Hard. Trust the man. He makes hits.
Right.
No. So they said, well, you're fired. And they fired him. And Crichton, who wrote the film, he was on set doing filming. He came back in and shot the reshoots they wanted. And I hate to say it, but it killed his movie. It's not the movie it could have been. Omar Sharif, I sat across the table from Omar for a week in shooting. We got to know each other fairly well. And he said it reminded him of Lawrence of Arabia. One man's story, simply told. But he was so upset when the film came out. They gutted the story. You didn't know anything about. I mean, yes, we can enjoy the movie, but when you knew the other film, the film that we read and that we shot, it was 10 times better. And he said that's the reason he quit acting, because he was so upset. He quit acting for 2 years because he was so upset and mad at what they did to that movie. Yeah, look it up. It's true. He was like so mad because they remove all the character development. There's this was it Helgar? Okay, so Abby Woodington or Woodhouse, I can't remember right now. He played Helgar, who had a hatchet, like on an axe in his hand. Well, at one point, the big tall guy, John DeSantis, I think, who was pumping gas in Nanaimo, and they said, "Hey, you're 6'9", you're going to be in this movie. Come here." Anyway, Abby, at one point, he gets his head ripped off by one of the Wendigos, and John picks up his body and says, "Come, my friend," or whatever. Your head is going to find your hand in Valhalla. Well, nobody knew he was missing a hand because they never showed the axe.
Oh, so gosh.
You know what? And then when the guy got hit by all the arrows, I think it was Nisha, it was John. It was Bear, this big Danish wrestler. He got hit. He's dying this heroic death, but nobody really knows who he is. That's the problem. They cut out all the character development. If you look at Hunt for Red October, I mean, there's all this character development, things happen, then you get to a dramatic crisis.
That's right.
And you care.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to look at Final Destination. That's what Final Destination does. They built all this character development into the movie, so when the characters you really start to know and start to care about die, you are totally invested. But they took that out of 13th Warrior, and it was an okay film.
Well, that was kind of it. It never really did anything. And I think now that I've heard you say that, you're exactly right. The development's the best part.
Absolutely. But you see, here's the problem. It's a great book, and it might be on my shelf right here. No, it's not here. Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. Okay, Dog Day Afternoon, 12 Angry Men, and others. Like, okay, he said this: never use test audiences. He had a brain trust, like 5 friends he used to show his movies to. He said, if you put a pencil and paper in someone's hand and say, "Here, watch my movie, but tell me what's wrong with it." So what are they doing? They're not engaged in the film. They're not really watching. They're looking for what they consider mistakes. So all they're going to do, if you show a film into a test audience and say, "Look, tell me what's wrong with my movie," they're going to come back. They're not going to have experienced the film.
You're right.
They will not know. All they're going to do is sit there and look for what they think are flaws. And I don't care what Disney has to say. That's the problem that Disney did with that movie, is they ruined it because of that.
Well, and
They
they've
did.
done other things like that where
Oh yeah.
it always comes down to kind of meddling with the vision.
They think for profit they gotta maximize and listen to the people. Sidney Lumet, God bless him, but he's right. The average person knows nothing about filmmaking. They know nothing about story and character development. They know nothing about the journey. They enjoy it. They like to watch it. Totally get it. They're moved by it. They live vicariously and have this like they're transported to the world of the Vikings, etc. But they do not know how to get there. So
Yeah.
do not ask someone who does not know the road how to get there.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice.
You know, don't ask a school teacher to build a house. Don't ask a carpenter to teach school. Like, come on, you know. So
Yeah.
I was upset because I was hoping for a classic. There was a friend of mine who was in that. Well, we buddies, acquaintances now. We haven't seen each other in years. But Claire Lipinski, local lady here, awesome
Yeah.
woman. She did 65 days on that movie. She was crazy. She crosses frame once carrying a jug of water because they cut her storyline, all the girlfriends, all the wives, they cut all of that out and just get to the killing. Oh, it was terrible. She was so disappointed. I mean, I was in it for a week and I was in the trailer. They were shooting a trailer. They were shooting this one scene. I
Yeah.
remember it was right when they said the 13th man must not be a Northman. And Antonio, that's Omar's line. And then Antonio says, what the hell do you mean? And we're all supposed to look at like Antonio, like, who's this little dirt bag or whatever? We want to go on the adventure. So I'm looking and staring, and I was like, much like I do now. I had big beard in, I had a longer beard and my own natural hair. Me and another guy, Andrew Cavadas, were the only two that didn't have like extensions because we were
Right.
long hair hippies anyway. So we're looking, and John McTiernan's right by the camera operator, and he comes down and he talks to me and he goes, "No, no, go back to Alex. Okay, go." And that shot's in the movie. I'm in the trailer more than I'm in the film because of the cuts.
Oh, it's hilarious and terrible.
Oh yeah. Well, Omar was incredible because he was like he thought this was going to revitalize his career. Not that his career was flagging, but he thought I'm in another classic.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how hard it just hit him? He's such a nice man, so kind. Like here, I know I'm in a talk show, as it were. I'm telling stories, but you had to elicit stories out of Omar. He would not just talk about himself. I mean, let's face it. In public, most of us don't. You know, we don't. But at work, I had to say, Omar, listen, I'm a huge David Lean fan. I love his direction. I love his ethic. I love your work of not just of the classics, but all the other films. I've seen you in a lot of stuff, Funny Girl and this and that. What was it like to work with David Lean? Alex, I will tell you a story. I'm like, whoa, okay, ooh, I look at the goosebumps. Seriously, man, like, because when he walked on set, I kid you not, my heart beat out of my chest. Because when we were waiting around for him and Antonio to show up, they were a little late because they're coming from wherever. And then when finally he walked on set, my heart was just pounding. I mean, you probably should have had me on machine to
I
get
love
me.
that you're a fan too. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
completely. You kidding? I've met and worked with Mark Hamill. I indirectly worked with William Shatner he voiced a character that I was in a show with. Like, I'm like, I've actually indirectly worked with him, and I met like Stan Lee and a couple guys or whatever. Ray Harryhausen at signing conventions or whatever. So anyway,
I
I'm a big fanboy.
yeah, I love that. I owned a couple of comic book stores back in the 90s,
Oh yeah.
and that I did a lot of conventions, and I'd run into Stan Lee all the time.
Oh, you're
And back
lucky.
then, you didn't have to pay any money to get an autograph. He just
Yeah.
signed stuff, you
Yep.
know. And if
Well,
you
people.
over time, he'd get to
Yeah.
know you, and he'd
Sure.
come and he'd see you, and he'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" and stuff. And then eventually it got so big that you couldn't get near Stan Lee.
No. No. Well, like at conventions, I did a lot of conventions for Stargate over the years, and I'd be like, people, I've got friends. I had a girlfriend that I met at the conventions, like she was a fan, whatever, and
Yeah,
like it took months for our relationship to develop, but still, it was like, like people forget that fans are people too, right? We're
that's
just
right.
all people, right? But let's get back to Final Destination. I was going to say something for you. So that character development. Now, it doesn't matter. Have you seen the movie or not?
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't
It's
seen
all
it yet.
good.
We
So, but
we
that's what I'm
we
saying.
do our movies like all my family's here, so
Yeah.
we go as a big group. So this
Oh, okay.
weekend's we'll be going, but it'll be a bunch of us.
Well, this is sort of an end cap in my career in a ways because all my friends, we call ourselves the Urban Tribe. We are all like about 25 of us. We've been friends for 30 years. We hang out. They all went to that first big movie, and then you saw me for like 2 seconds. You saw my hair, about like this, and you saw me like more in the trailer than in the movie, whatever. But they all went with me to that. But now this Saturday, we're all going to see Final
I love
Destination
that.
together in a group. So they actually get to see me this time because I'm all over the movie, in the first half or so. But the movie itself, like I say, Final Destination, it's one of the most finely crafted films I've ever been in. Last night, Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick posted on Facebook how great the movie was. They just saw it. They said, "We love this movie. Go see it. Final Destination.
That's
It's so
awesome.
well made." I was like, there's my 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
There you go. Down to one now. It's just me, Final Destination, and Kevin Bacon. There you go.
Yeah, that's tough
Anyway,
to beat.
it is tough to beat. But
Well, and I would listen to them if they liked it. I'd be
yeah.
like, okay, it's probably pretty good.
That film, they did the writers did such a good job with it. The cinematographer, the directors, the producers, Craig Perry and Sheila Taylor, and all the others at New Line and whatnot. Like everybody combined in, and that's the thing. There was no jerks in the movie. Nobody was an egotist.
Nice.
There was no whatever. The crew was amazing, and the special effects guys. Like, I'm not giving anything away. You see it in the trailer. Uncle Howard meets his demise via lawnmower. We all know that. Okay. So there's no spoiler alert there. It's in the trailer.
Poor Uncle Howard.
Poor Uncle Howard. So, but I'm saying the guys that did the special effects makeup at Masters FX, Mike, he's a good friend of mine, Todd Masters. He's won like an Emmy for like 6 Feet Under, and he made the Borg Queen. And,
Oh, yeah.
in Hidalgo, he created a horse's head in the middle of the Moroccan desert out of a carpet and 2 upturned spoons for eyes, and you can't tell. That's how good these guys are. Mike and Holland and all the rest at Masters FX, they're incredible. Mike Fields, like these guys are masters, thus Masters FX, at what they do. But he had all these craftspeople come together, and they made, and I'm going out on a limb here, crafted almost a perfect film in a lot of ways for me. It's just so well done. And they took the time for character development. It's not like, oh, suddenly we got to die. There's crazy death, and not like the other films did.
That's what kills a lot of the horror movies, I think, is they don't develop the characters at all.
No. Whereas this one, it's complete character development. You know and care about every single character. You know what they've been going through. And so when they meet their demise, you're like, I've had a lot of fan response here going, and people, oh, poor Uncle Howard and whatever. I really cared about him. You were so sweet in the movie. I'm like, oh, thanks. Because my character's trying to keep the family together because he's had a rough upbringing. Him and his sister, pulled apart. The mother separated from the mother, etc. And she was a kook. So, he's tried to create an environment where the family really is priority number one. And he's trying the backyard. Look at my backyard. We've got a trampoline. We got giant Jenga. We got games on the other games in the back. A bar like for party. A big barbecue pit. A eating place. It's just to bring everybody together, to hold the family together, and have the family life as an adult, and provide for his kids that he never had as a child.
Yeah.
Don't we all try to do that?
And this one's it's a prequel, right? It's kind of showing the origins of all the curse or whatever.
It's a prequel, and it's somewhat of a finale in a way, but not fully. The door's always open.
Well, always with franchise.
Always.
You never say never.
No, and especially the fact that this one has made, I think, close to $200 million so far. So it doesn't hurt.
No, and it's only been out a couple weeks.
It's not even been out 2 weeks, I don't think. I think it's in its second week now, isn't it?
Yeah, no. I think.
Yeah, it opened May 16th. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's and this, I think this is like number 6, right? 7?
Yes, it's Bloodlines is the number 6 movie. You're right. But again, it is a prequel sort of, because there's flashbacks to the 60s to an inciting incident that ties all the other movies together in a little bow. It's just, I think it's so well crafted. That's the thing. There's so much craftspersonship in here.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview yesterday with I can't remember her name now, the editor of the film. She's the wife of James, a voice director I work with now. Oh, was it Leanne? I hesitate to say. I'm going to look it up. But she talked about editing and her experience as an editor and what she does to edit and to make it all come together, and it was just like, that's it, poetry right there,
Yeah,
she's so good.
I love it when people can create stuff because I'm not very creative myself. So I can admire somebody that has that
You
creative.
think you're not, but look at your background. Come on.
Well, I've said I don't
Yeah.
have too many good ideas. This background was one of them. I'm a big Star
There
Trek
you
fan.
go.
I was like, I want a background where it looks like everybody's yelling Khan. So
Here we
that
go.
was,
Here we go. Sorry, one sec. Sabrina Petrie.
oh, very nice. Yeah, yeah.
She had the most a red carpet eloquent discussion of editing that I've just about ever heard. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah, I'll look her up. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
seriously, but that's what I'm getting at. There was no weak links in the movie. There was no weak links behind the scene. And here's a fun one for you. Thank you, people at New Line Cinema, supporting, doing the film, etc.
yeah.
And also thank you for allowing us to change in your ladies' washroom the day of the preview because we were staying in Anaheim and had taken a Warner Brothers studio tour that day, and Warner Brothers is the studio behind it, and with
Yeah.
New Line. And so we didn't have time to drive an hour and a half back and then an hour and a half back.
That's
So
right.
we did the tour, and publicity had arranged for us to change in the New Line Cinema's offices at around 5 p.m., which we did. So we blocked the door shut with our suitcases and
Nice.
stuff. We got changed in the ladies' washroom.
Did I see you're coming back for the new season of School Spirits?
That's right. Well, hopefully I'm coming back. I haven't heard 100% yet, but the show is coming back this summer to film the third season this summer. And Principal Hartman, hopefully still principal of the
I
school,
would
didn't get
assume.
fired yet. I would
Yeah.
assume. So that's why I'm growing in the big mustache too, because he's got the big Ned Flanders
Yeah,
mustache
yeah.
going
I
on.
figured that's what it was for.
Well, I always keep a beard on it. Ever since I could grow a beard, I've loved a beard. I mean,
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a great professor at university said, "Listen, this is a man's real face, the beard. Okay,
That's right.
well, a Caucasian, you grow a beard. This is your true face. When you shave, you're creating a mask for society." I went, I've just
Interesting.
instinctually wanted a beard most of my life. So for most of my adult life, since I could grow a beard, I've had a beard. I
Yeah,
just like it.
well, and that makes it easy if you just need the mustache.
Well, you trim it up too a little bit. I
Yeah.
actually prefer the full beard because with a mustache, I either look like a cop or someone the cop should be arresting.
Yeah, that beard of yours is basically what I shaved off before we did the interview.
Oh no, dude, you should have kept it. We'd been beard brothers,
We'd have
man.
been beer brothers. Because yeah, I let it grow for a week, sometimes 2 weeks, and then
Right,
I don't all the way shave it, just trim it way down. It looks like it's
right.
shaving, but there's some stubble there. And then
There
in a
you
couple
go.
days it's back.
Sure. Well, I try to keep a good beard on because my wife does not appreciate sandpaper face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a fair complaint.
Oh, it is totally.
You did you were in Christmas Story 2.
That's correct.
Christmas Story is my favorite Christmas movie.
You know what? That and It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
They're
that's a
so
great
good.
one too. Yeah, that's a great
For
one.
me, loves It's a Wonderful Life. Child me loves
I
Christmas
think that's
Story.
fair. That's
And I hate to say, but A Christmas Story 2 is nowhere near as good as the original.
it is not. It was a
No,
little disappointing compared to
it was
the
very
original.
disappointing.
But
Yeah, they instead of keeping to the sweetness of the original, they changed it. They allowed swearing. They did different stuff, and I'm like, no, guys, come
that's
on.
right. That's
It's
right.
it's the same characters, just a little older. Don't fix what isn't broken.
Well, they
That's what
did
they
a little
screwed
bit
up.
better job with the sequel that came out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I guess
But
Christmas Story 2 is technically a sequel, but
technically, but
we're
I know what you
ignoring
mean.
that.
Yeah, we have to. We have to. But yeah, it's funny, I played a Nazi officer in the main kid's dream sequence, I
Yep.
played a Nazi officer, and the thing is I've played about half a dozen Nazis in my career, or Germans specifically, but Nazis more specifically. And like I was the Commandant of Auschwitz in the 100th episode of Outer Limits Tribunal. I
That's a
was
great episode, by the way.
oh, thank you.
Love that one.
I'll tell you a quick story about that in a sec, but I was in Man in the High Castle as Oberfuhrer Oliver Diels.
Love that show. Yeah.
While shooting it, the next day after one episode, I was a German colonel in a movie that's set in World War II. I played what's his name? He invented the Hindenburg. He wasn't a Nazi, I don't think, but he was. Gosh, what's his name? It was in
Well,
the
you
River
also
World.
voiced Red Skull, so you've
Yeah,
been.
and I voiced Red Skull. Yes, in Marvel's Lego Adventures. Yes. Oh, Captain America, good to see you. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, done a lot of that stuff. But I was going to tell you a story about something, but now I've lost it wherever it went.
Well,
It's all
it
good.
was. Let me think, because we went through a bunch right there. Well, it
Yeah,
was Christmas.
oh yeah. Okay, the Outer Limits.
Oh,
100th
Outer
episode.
Limits. Yeah.
So Sam Egan was a showrunner, And he wrote this as a survivor story, a tribute to his father, Leo Egan, who survived Auschwitz. Unfortunately, Leo's first wife and child did not. And Leo came on set, and here's goosebumps again. He came on set, 84 years old, and he wanted to be in the thing, and he was dressed as a prisoner, etc. And when I came out, I was in some of my costume was actual Nazi regalia that costume collectors had. And so when I came out, I never forget it. He was turned away, turned to look at me, and went like, ah. And you could see the fear in his eyes.
Yeah.
And just like, I just about started crying. And he took a moment, and look at the goosebumps. Seriously, man. Like,
yeah, that would upset me.
Oh yeah. And so in the end, he couldn't bring himself to be in the film. He wanted to, but he just wanted to pose with me. And it was I had to do it, 84-year-old man, come on.
Yeah.
But he wanted me to take the riding crop. I would pick out a prisoner every morning to kill, but I would take the riding crop and point to him. I was like, oh, come on, you're killing me. I don't know if I can do that, But so anyway, but it was survivor's guilt, right? And he wrote a lot of poetry, Holocaust survivor poetry for years because, I mean, come on, millions did not survive. His wife and child didn't survive, but he did. And I think it's the piece of TV that I'm the most proud of because it helps keep the memory of the Holocaust alive so we don't repeat it. Now, mind you, we haven't been that successful because look at Rwanda and, even in Bosnia and whatnot and old Yugoslavia. And there's so much of that going on, but it's the piece of film I think I'm the most proud of.
Yeah, and rightfully so. It's one of my favorite episodes of either Outer Limits, the old or the
mine too, frankly. And I'm not saying it because I'm in it. I just think it's a really well told story.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Well, Alex, thank you for taking a little bit of time. There's so much more we need to talk about. You're going to have to come back.
I will. Thanks, Michael. And again, love the background, man. Love your background.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. So a couple of things, Alex, before we wrap up. Yeah. So we got Final Destination Bloodlines. It's out now.
Yep.
School Spirit.
Go check it out in theaters.
That's right. We're hoping. It's got to be those movies you got to see in the theater.
Oh yeah, but they shot it in IMAX. It's huge. You got to go check it out. You got it.
Well, that's our plan is to hit the big theater.
What's that?
Our plan is to hit the big theater.
Oh yeah, you got to go see it in the theater.
Yeah, you got to see that. And then we got School Spirits coming out this summer. We're starting to film this summer, so we're hoping you're in that. Anything else that you're working?
Yeah. Okay, so there's an animated show called Breaking Bear.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a takeoff, I think, on Breaking Bad, where three bears, they're frackers or oil people are drilling and stuff and wrecking their environment. So to save their environment, they got to buy the land. They can't do it, so they turn to meth in order to make enough money to buy the land or whatever. But they have these interactions with all these other characters in it, and I play. It's for Adult Swim, so it's very adult themed.
Yep.
Very. And I play a character I can't mention, but it is singularly the most outrageous, outlandish, off the wall. You can't effing believe they actually got away with this. So watch for Breaking Bear on Adult Swim.
Yeah, I love Adult Swim. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out.
Check it out.
That's awesome.
There we go.
Where can we find you on social media?
Well, I'm on Facebook. There you go. But I'm also on Instagram. And I have to admit this, I'm a bit of a Luddite. I don't do this stuff well. My wife does it all. If you look, most of the posts are my wife, and then she just tags me.
Well, you need a person. I
know. She's my gal. So I think it's Alex.Zahara on Instagram. I don't do X, which was Twitter. These things frustrate me. Well, you know what it is? I like one-on-one, like talking like this. As you can see, I like talking. When people spend 10 minutes ticking out on their phone to ask me 2 questions, I'm like, bloody call me, okay?
Right.
Just call me. Like, we would have been done, but this idiotic back and forth, like, somehow they think this is better or faster.
I know. It drives me crazy, too. It's not.
Yeah. So,
not
Facebook,
bad.
Instagram, what else? I have my website, alexzahara.com. Needs a little updating, sorry. But you go check it out. You see a lot of my demo reels and things there. But real quick, this was my 40th death on screen. 40th.
I mean, that's a milestone.
Yeah, totally.
That's probably more than Sean Bean.
Okay, real quick here. I did Snowpiercer with Sean Bean. I would do the read-throughs. Like I'm a good cold reader and stuff, and I do a lot of voices and accent work. So Sean and I, during the break, I said, "Hey, Sean, can I talk to you for a second?" "Yeah, sure." I said, "I got you beat." He goes, "What do you mean?" well, you had 23 deaths at that time or something. Yeah. I said, I had 38 or like 35. He goes, get the out of here. We had we had a good laugh about it, etc. But now I'm at 40. So, it's nuts. Yeah. It started my
You should
first death.
probably lean into that more.
Oh yeah. I've been shot, stabbed. I got hung by Henry Winkler, the Fonz, in The Dead Man's Gun. I've nuked my men in Stargate, had smallpox, been shot innumerable number of times. I can't remember. Oh, I was eaten in The Immortal by I was a demonic little assistant to this witch.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And they ate me. They took me off camera and cooked me and ate me. So there you go.
Yeah, that might be the best one.
Well, the lawnmower in Final Destinations. Oh my God, it's all over. You look at Twitter and whatever.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's no Anna Laurie, who plays my daughter. She did a thing which they put the lawnmower down. You see me going like falling, and they put like the Ave Maria, the Omen theme. It's the Omen theme.
Yeah, no stress.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious and bloody.
Oh yeah, it's gross. Well, we shot it 2 or 3 times, and I know I keep talking story, but the Hawaiian shirt I die in, I actually had an audition the next day, and I had with the guy who had to have a Hawaiian shirt, and I said, costumes, could I borrow this? Oh, they said, keep it. So I wore it to the premieres, and it's hilarious because
I'd be wearing that every Halloween.
There you go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That'll be my guy from now on. I'll put a little lawnmower on my head, and I'll just walk around. Hey, I'm Uncle Howard.
I actually kind of love that. That's a pretty good costume.
I just thought of that. I might do that.
All right, Alex, hold on.
Oh, and Halloween's my birthday, by the way.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm the 24th. I'm October
really?
24th, yeah.
Nice, buddy.
Yeah.
Well,
Scorpio.
People always say that explains a lot about you, Alex, because I'm fairly gregarious. Dracula's my favorite, like, monster, etc. So, yeah. We'll talk again.
What's the kind of the Victorian monsters? I kind of enjoy.
Yes. Oh, yeah, me too. I'm in the classic Mummy, Dracula, Bela Lugosi, Peter Cushing, Christopher
They
Lee.
used to show on Halloween, they would show those overnight, like the old black and white horror movies. I'd stay up and watch those growing up. Love those.
Me too. I would sneak up, turn the TV on, watch CBC Nostalgia Theater, even for all the old movies, the Brits and stuff. And I'd be like, 2 inches from the screen, so I could hear, and my parents wouldn't know I was up. Probably have to wear glasses.
Me too. Today. All right, Alex, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Alex Zahara? I'm trying to Zahara. Alex Zahara. There we go. He was absolutely terrific. Final Destination Bloodlines. It's out now. Tony Todd's last film. Absolutely hated that we lost him. There's so much more that Alex has done that we didn't get to talk about. I wanted to ask him about Horns. That's a Joe King story, or Joe Hill. It's Stephen King's son. He has done, he's appeared on Chad, C, iZombie, Supergirl, Arrow, The Killing. He was in The Returned, which was based on, I think, a Swedish show that I watched. I think this was the American version of that show, but it's terrific. It's about people coming back from the dead. He was Lieutenant Weston on Hell on Wheels. Love that show. He's done Inhumans and the Eternals animation. I'm a big comic book guy. Let's see, Dead Zone, Andromeda. Love that one. If you're a Kevin Sorbo fan, we've had Kevin on the show. So yeah, check that out from Andromeda. He was on First Wave. Psych, it's Brett's favorite show. He's done an episode of that. Fringe, I'm a big fan of Fringe. Smallville, True Calling, love Eliza Dushku. He was Valance on Battlestar Galactica, the newer one. We talked about Stargate. He was in Babylon 5's The Legend of the Rangers. Babylon 5, one of my favorite shows ever. He's even done a couple episodes of Dark Angel, which was absolutely terrific. Love that. Oh, Uncle Bedford on Riverdale as well. He's been all over the place. Also, Batwoman. We've had Javicia that played Batwoman has been on the show. He was terrific on there as well. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Go check out Final Destination Thank you guys for tuning in with us. Our website's meistercon.com. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.